So Micah Parsons and the Dallas Cowboys relationship is quickly deteriorating, but is it good if you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan? Now, I think the immediate reaction is, well, yeah, it's good. I mean, he is one of the best defensive players in the league. He is a premier linebacker that just about any team would love to have. And the fact that the Cowboys are botching this so much is music to every team in the NFC East ears because they don't want to play against him. But if you're an Eagles fan, let's be real here. You've had your eyes on this guy for a while. Because it has become clear to everybody with a brain cell that Micah Parsons wants to be an Eagle. And this isn't just me being an Eagles fan, being a homer. When you look at the fact that he is on record lamenting the Eagles picking his, quote, favorite players in the draft. Whether it be Jalen Carter one year, whether it be Quinyon Mitchell the next. The guy is a Sixers fan. Like, he wants to be an Eagle. And honestly, how can you blame him? All this dude has known since entering the NFL is losing. Because that's what the Cowboys do. The Cowboys will remind you that they're America's team. And Jerry will remind you that they have a valuation of $10 billion. And that's great for Jerry. But the Eagles will remind you, who's top dog, who won the Super Bowl 40-6. Oh, I'm sorry, 40-22 after they pulled their starters. Yeah, who wouldn't want to play for the Eagles? The reality is that when Jeffrey Lurie, the owner of the Philadelphia Eagles, said years ago that the Eagles were the gold standard, even though they had an empty trophy case, he was mocked. He was ridiculed. A lot of people in Philadelphia pointed and laughed and said, like, gold standard what? Of what? Like, you don't have a Lombardi. But now we're sitting in 2025. He's got 2 of them. He's gone to multiple Super Bowls. He's compiled one of the best organizations in football. And more importantly, he's compiled a team that star players want to go to. And the reason I say that is not just because the Eagles are a very good team and, you know, good players want to be on good teams. Like, no shit. No. It's the way that the Eagles treat their players is night and day from the Cowboys. Jerry Jones, God bless him, hope he never sells the team, hope he continues to run into the ground, doesn't realize how to treat star players anymore. Maybe at one point he did, but he's still going with this rhetoric of like, you need me, I don't need you. And I guess when you have a $10 billion evaluation of your franchise, maybe you're right. Maybe he doesn't care about winning anymore. Maybe it's like, yeah, it'd be nice to win, but checks keep clearing, so whatever. But when you look at the Eagles, they signed Saquon Barkley from the New York Giants. The rival New York Giants. They signed Saquon Barkley. What does he do? Let's be real. He would have broken Eric Dickerson's rushing record. Maybe he does it this year if, you know, everybody stays healthy and all that. Did the Eagles need to give him a raise? Did they need to extend his contract? No, they didn't. He was locked in. No reason to do that, right? Why did they do it? To show their appreciation. To show him, hey man, this is different than your other team. The Giants, they franchise tagged you. They didn't extend you. Us, shit, we just signed you. Here's more money. You know, I mean, I'm fully believing right now that if Howie Roseman and not dipshit Joe Banner was in charge of the Eagles, T.O. would have spent the majority of his prime in Eagles green. Because they would have rewarded that. And that's what the Eagles do. They look to extend their players. They look to reward their players. And they're able to do that because they have a GM in Howie Roseman and an owner, more importantly, in Jeffrey Lurie that are willing to cut guaranteed money checks to keep the cap hits low. So it's not just the fact that they're able to reward, but it's the fact that they know in the back of their mind, I'll just rework contracts and make the cap hit work because I have an owner who's willing to invest today in the product. Whereas you have Jerry Jones sitting there going like, yeah, it'd be nice to have him, but, you know, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. It's sending the wrong message to your entire team. And this started with the CD Lamb contract extension. It started with that being played out during training camp. And now you're seeing a situation with the Dallas Cowboys where Micah Parsons, their best defensive player, is not practicing with the team. You know, they're coming up with phantom injuries, but the reality is, like, he wants to be traded. He has said he wants to be traded. Is it good? He's 1 year removed, or he's 1 year away from being a UFA. And there's no doubt in my mind that the Eagles would be interested. How could they not? There's no doubt in my mind that he probably would take less money to come to the Birds than, another team. But at the same time, I look at it, and as an Eagles fan, and I go, man, I would have just rather had him play out this season with Dallas, not had this trade demand. Because the fact is, if the Dallas Cowboys end up going, we need to trade this guy. All right, he's sitting out games. We're finding him, but it's not really mattering much. He's just going to walk away at the end of the year. We're going to get nothing for him. We need to trade him. Whoever trades for him is extending him. And the pipe dream of having Micah Parsons on your defense it went away. Micah Parsons to the Eagles was just that. It was a pipe dream. But it was a pipe dream that's become more and more of a reality as the years have gone on because of the fact that he hasn't gotten that extension with Dallas. It was always one of those man, this guy clearly wants to be a Bird, but Dallas would be idiots not to extend him. Well, they haven't extended him, and he's pissed off about it, rightfully so, because he's, one cut in turf away from just shredding his knee up and his career never being the same. So he wants that money. And if you're a free agent in the NFL, the Eagles are really, really, really attractive. And if you're Micah Parsons, who is I think he's pretty friendly with a lot of the guys on the Birds because he respects them. He's, as I said, openly stated that he really likes the way that they've drafted. They've routinely taken his, quote, favorite player in the draft. He'd absolutely want to join this defense. But again, if they end up caving, they're going to end up trading him, and that team will end up extending him because there's no team that is going to give up that kind of draft capital and then risk him walking in free agency. We saw this play out with Hassan Reddick. Hassan Reddick gets traded to the Jets expecting a contract extension, and the Jets were like, well, we're not extending you yet. No. And now Hassan Reddick is a Tampa Bay Buck. That's dumb. That's bad business of the Jets. That's another poorly run organization. And right now, the Dallas Cowboys are a poorly run organization. Now, Dallas Cowboys fans can come on my mentions and say that they're not. You are. And you know that. You've got to be frustrated. How could you not be? Because you're in danger of losing your best player in Micah Parsons. So, as a Birds fan who would love to see Micah Parsons in Eagles green and who has dreamed about seeing Micah Parsons in Eagles green, I have to look at this situation as there are three outcomes here. And the most likely of them is not good if you have this dream of seeing him in Eagles green. The first outcome is they end up trading him. They end up getting a bevy of draft picks that the Eagles are not going to give up because they're not going to give up that draft capital. And as I said, whoever trades for him will end up extending him. The second is that Micah Parsons sits out. And that I'd assume he'd end up eventually coming back because the fines would just rack up and rack up and rack up, and he'd eventually come back, and then he'd hit free agency. And in that situation, it'd be great because he's not going to go back to Dallas. And then I think the Eagles would, in fact, pounce. The third outcome is that he extends in Dallas. Is that Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones eventually come to their senses and they go, we can't let this guy go. We'll give him the bag. He deserves it. He's earned it. Options 1 and 3, he gets traded or he gets extended, I think are the most likely. I don't see a scenario where he ends up hitting free agency next year. And that goes back to my question. Is this good if you're an Eagles fan? Whether the Eagles win on week 1 or not, I'm not going to overreact if they lose because and I know, and everybody in the NFL knows that the Eagles are an elite team. The Eagles will be in the playoffs. So I'm not going to overreact if they lose to the Dallas Cowboys in week 1. When you look at the Eagles, do they need Micah Parsons? No, they don't. Would it be nice to have him? It's like the rich getting richer. And I obviously don't want to play him in week 1. It's going to make week 1 a lot easier. But I do ask, is it good? Well, in the short term, yeah, it's good. But could the Eagles beat the Dallas Cowboys with Micah Parsons on the field? Absolutely. And they've done it. So in the short term this is great for the Eagles. I don't know if Micah Parsons makes that much of a difference with how good the Eagles are. You know what I mean? Like, is he so much of a difference maker for the Dallas Cowboys where he is able to shut down everything that the Eagles offense is able to do, where you go, oh my God, like, thank God he's out. Obviously, it makes the win easier for the Birds. I just don't know if he is such a difference maker for that Dallas Cowboys defense against such a formidable opponent, the Eagles offense, where you're going to sit back at week 1 and go, the Dallas Cowboys won because of Micah Parsons. And I really, really hope all of that made sense. The long term is this good for the Eagles? It's good in the sense of he might not be in the NFC, but if you want Micah Parsons to be an Eagle, it's not good. It's, in fact, I think, bad. I don't know if I made a lick of sense in the past 10 minutes and 41 seconds, but I hope so. You guys know where the buttons are. Subscribing is important. Helps me out. Liking, disliking, commenting, whatever. Obviously, got to finish with the Go Birds.